Hey, this is Amace. I'm just here to show you how to recreate a double bulkhead look. So we got this question from Hit the Bay. He's asking, how can I do this two bulkhead look? Part of it's going to be how you spline this course, but it's really not too difficult. So obviously I'm not doing this particular one for him, but I have an existing course that I've been working on, and there's a section that is going to work for our purposes. Got a nice sloped area. We're going to pretend that this is the green and fairway, this is the rough surrounding it, and this is the deep rough, which is exactly what we have here. We have a green, we have a fairway, and we have rough down here, and then deep rough down here. So what I've done here, I've created a fake green, so this is just its second subdivided, or a separated mesh there. I use custom 1 as my rough when I do all my splining. I like that it gives you a blend, makes it a little better transition into deep rough or the fairways or whatever you're using around it. So what I'm going to do here, we'll jump right into it. I like to use the blends for bulkheads. It's a little bit extra step, but it puts it where I want. If I were to just select this mesh and go add bulkhead, it adds it to the middle, which is not what we want. If I were to select the outer mesh and add a bulkhead, it adds it around the outside, which is not what I want. So I'm going to put it on the blend. There's a couple ways to do this, but I prefer to do the blend. So we're going to add bulkhead to select it. I've done stonewall bulkhead, and there's the bulkhead. Now, when you go into the curve, select the curve up here on the right, hit tab to go into edit mode. You'll see that there's two sets of nodes. It's added a bulkhead on the inside and on the outside of the blend, which is not exactly what we want. So what I need to do, firstly, I'm going to remove the segments of bulkhead that I don't want. So in this example, there's just, a quarter of the circle covered with bulkhead. So I'm going to get rid of everything that would go around the outside. So I'm going to hit C to bring up circle select. First I'm going to turn on X-ray mode up here at the top. I'm going to hit C to bring up circle select, and it has this circle here. You can make it bigger or smaller using the scroll wheel. And then I'm just going to hold down the mouse button, drag it around, select all of these nodes that I want to get rid of, and these are the ones I'm going to delete. If you get a little too click happy and you want to get rid of some of these, you just hit the middle mouse button, hold it down to remove the selected nodes. So I'm going to hit delete segments, those are gone. I'm going to clean it up a little bit. You'll notice that, again, there's two sets of nodes. We only want the one. So I'm going to select the inside left, control, inside right node. It's going to automatically take the shortest path, which is a straight line here. Delete segments, done. I'm going to clean this up so I don't have this bulkhead floating up there. Just going to take a couple extra nodes, segments gone. That's still not great. Whatever, good enough. I'm going to hit tab to get out of edit mode, turn off X-ray mode, and this is what we're left with here. So there's my bulkhead. Now, I need to flatten this area. So the LiDAR probably has a pretty big slope there, and that's not going to look very good. So what you can do, there's a couple ways to really do it. You can select the mesh, hit tab to go into edit mode. You're probably going to want to hide the bulkhead that you just created. But what we want to do, bring this down a bit. So what I like to do is, I'll look and see, is the area slanted? In this case it is. If it's perfectly flat, that's great, but what I'm going to do here is hide the inside loop. So I'm going to just select all of these because I don't want to accidentally modify these and create gaps in the mesh. So I'm going to hide it just by hitting the H key. Those nodes disappear, which is perfect. Now, I'm going to go from about, actually unhide the bulkhead. I'm going to go from about there to there. And I'm just going to lower that down to be at the similar level to what's there. I'm going to turn on proportional editing at the top. And I'm going to hit G, Z, and that lets me raise and lower this along the Z-axis. Proportional editing just smooths it out, so there's not as abrupt of a change there. But obviously when you get too abrupt, it creates big gaps elsewhere, which you don't want. So I'm going to shrink the circle so that there's no gaps that I can see, and just bring that down a bit. It's going to be up to you to make it look perfect, but that's good enough for the purposes of this illustration. Alt-H unhides those nodes, and we're good to go. Now, time to create the second bulkhead. So I'm going to select my mesh that I want to create the bulkhead on. Yeah, it's not a huge mesh. So we'll go bulkhead, add to selected, and it's added it to the outside of the whole thing. And again, we need to edit it. So I'm going to select the curve, tab, and get rid of anywhere that I don't want the bulkhead. So in this case, I'm going to hit A to select everything, and I'm going to use circle select to deselect the area that I don't want a bulkhead. So in this case, it's pretty much down the whole front of it, so I'm going to keep the bulkhead, let's call it here, and go down there. So that area is going to have a bulkhead. Everywhere else that you see it selected is going to lose its bulkhead. So delete, segments, boom, bulkhead. Tab to exit out of edit mode. Now, we just want to bring the deep rough area down a little bit so that it gives you the little bit of a reveal, because that doesn't look very good. So selecting the deep rough area, tab, and we're just going to do a similar sort of thing. So circle select, select the area that you want to bring down. Let's do something like that. There's a couple things you could do here. So you could hit SZ0, and that will flatten it. That doesn't work particularly great here because this is a sloped area, and it raises it up on one side, lowers it on the other. It might work for you, doesn't work for me. So I'm just going to lower this. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to lower the area. So GZ, and then bring it down a bit. I'm going to play with my proportional editing circle, which again remains on. You can see up at the top here, it's highlighted. So I'm going to bring it down a bit. That's probably good. And there we have double bulkhead. So bulkhead here, there's the fairway, there's the green, there's the rough, there's the bulkhead, there's the deep rough. I'm going to leave it up to you to really kind of dial in the exact geometry of the area, but that's going to give you a rough idea of how to put a bulkhead in these sort of selective areas that you've been having troubles with. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully shows you how to put a bulkhead on a section of a mesh, as well as building one on a blend, which, like I said, I tend to do. It just seems to give me a little bit better control. So hopefully that works. Hopefully it makes your job a little bit easier.